You know, history is filled with these incredible civilizations that just vanished. Their greatest achievements totally swallowed by time. But what if they left something behind? Little clues, traces of technologies so advanced they make you question everything you thought you knew about the past. Well, let's dive in and see what we can find.
So that's the big question, right? Did ancient people have tech that was way, way ahead of its time? This question is going to send us on a journey into a world just packed with mysteries. We're going to sift through all the evidence, from these bizarre artifacts to massive, unbelievable structures, and see what we can figure out together.
Okay, first up, we've got a real head-scratcher, the Piri Reis map. It was put together in the 1500s, and here's the thing that's just mind-boggling. It seems to show the coast of Antarctica, but without any ice on it. How on earth could mapmakers back then have known what that coastline looks like? That's something we only figured out with modern satellite tech. It's a genuine historical puzzle.
And trust me, the mysteries do not stop with maps. Check this out. Found in a shipwreck from the Roman era, this is the Antikythera mechanism. We're talking about a 2,000-year-old device, an incredibly complex system of bronze gears. And what did it do? It predicted eclipses and the positions of planets. This thing is basically the world's first analog computer, and it just completely shatters the conventional timeline of human invention.
You know, some lost technologies weren't for discovery. They were for pure destruction. The Byzantine Empire had this terrifying secret weapon called Greek fire. It was a chemical concoction that could burn on water. It would cling to enemy ships, to soldiers, and you couldn't put it out. The exact recipe was such a closely guarded state secret that when the empire finally fell, the formula was lost to history. Forever. All right, so we've seen these incredible little artifacts, but now let's talk about the big stuff. Monumental structures, feats of engineering we can literally go and see today, but still can barely wrap our heads around. High up in the mountains of Peru, you'll find the walls of Sacsayhuaman, and they're an absolute architectural enigma. I mean, look at this. We're talking about gigantic stones, some of them weighing over 100 tons, all fitted together without a single drop of mortar. The fit is so perfect you can't even slide a piece of paper between them. How did they do it? It remains one of the most profound mysteries out there. And that kind of mastery, of course, leads us to the sands of Egypt. Now, we've all been taught that the Great Pyramids were just these incredibly elaborate tombs for the pharaohs. But there are a growing number of theories that suggest maybe, just maybe, that simple explanation is missing a much, much bigger picture. So could the pyramids have been something more? I mean, the fact that no pharaoh's remains were ever actually found in the Great Pyramid's main chambers makes you wonder. Some researchers think they were centers for spiritual initiation. Others propose they were these super sophisticated astronomical observatories aligned to the stars with insane accuracy. There are even wild theories that they were part of a huge water management system or, and this is the big one, that they actually functioned as giant energy plants. And this incredible grasp of the cosmos, it wasn't just in Egypt. Over in England, you've got Stonehenge, standing as this silent testament to its builder's genius. Those massive stones are lined up perfectly to mark the solstices. The whole monument is basically a giant ancient calendar, connecting what was happening on Earth to what was happening in the heavens. Okay, so far we've been looking at physical stuff, right? Things you can go and see and touch. Now, let's step into a different world, the world of ancient texts and legends, where the line between what's a myth and what might be a forgotten reality gets really, really blurry. In ancient Indian epics, like the Ramayana, they describe these unbelievable flying machines called Vimanas. And these weren't just, simple chariots. The text described them as vehicles that could soar through the sky, used by gods and heroes in these massive, epic battles. It really makes you wonder, was this all just fantasy, or could these be some kind of fragmented memory of a lost age of flight? But of course, there's probably no legend of a lost world more famous than Atlantis. The philosopher Plato was the first to write about it, this story of a mighty island civilization that, in the blink of an eye, met a totally catastrophic end. And according to the legends that grew out of Plato's story, Atlantis wasn't just powerful, it was a technological utopia. They supposedly built this incredible city of concentric rings of land and water, harnessed energy from giant crystals for power, could even manipulate the weather. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
So this all leads to a really crucial question, doesn't it? If these ancient civilizations were so advanced, with all this incredible tech, where did they go? Why did they disappear? And what does their fate tell us about our own progress? Well, the answer isn't always some grand, dramatic mystery. Sometimes progress gets stopped in its tracks by something tragically simple: human conflict. The path of advancement is not a straight line up, and all that hard-won knowledge can be just wiped out in an instant. Take the Library of Alexandria. It was the greatest center of learning in the entire ancient world. Its destruction, which happened over time through a series of fires and conflicts, meant the loss of up to 700,000 scrolls. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that. All that science, that philosophy, that history, all of it turned to ash. It was an absolutely unthinkable setback for humanity. But we humans aren't the only force that can hit the reset button on civilization. Sometimes, even the most advanced societies are completely powerless when the final blow comes from the awesome and frankly unforgiving power of the natural world. A perfect example is the sophisticated Minoan civilization. About 3,600 years ago, the nearby volcano on the island of Thera erupted with just terrifying force. First, the explosion triggered a massive tsunami that just obliterated the Minoan coastal cities. Then, a huge cloud of volcanic ash blotted out the sun, causing all their crops to fail. This 1-2-3 punch, this devastating chain reaction, just shattered their society, and they vanished. So, as we look back at all these ruins and these fragmented stories, what are the big lessons here? What can these echoes from a distant past possibly teach our modern high-tech world? Because when you strip away all the mystery and all the speculation, every single one of these stories, from the Library of Alexandria to the Minoans, they all share a single powerful warning about our own time. And here it is. This is the core takeaway. Technological progress does not guarantee that you're going to stick around forever. Civilizations, no matter how smart or how advanced they get, are always vulnerable. Vulnerable to war, to natural disasters, and to simply forgetting the very knowledge that made them great in the first place. Progress is never, ever guaranteed. So ultimately, these stories, they're not really just about the past. They are profound and frankly humbling reminders that our own time here is fleeting. Our civilization, with all our digital wonders and global networks, we are not immune to the exact same forces that brought down the giants who came before us. Which leaves us with one final, kind of sobering thought to chew on. If our world ended tomorrow, what knowledge would we lose? What essential skills, what digital archives, what lost technologies of our time would some future archaeologist be puzzling over in the ruins of our cities?